You have to be a contrarian to be top 1% because what are we going to do with that information? We need more actionable steps to actually do it. You want to get ahead in life? I hear you, and I will help you do just that because it's never been easier to get ahead of 99% of the people. And you're wondering, why should I listen to you? What do you know? I've been not just ahead of life, I've been back behind the 99%. I was on the really back end of it, and I kind of crawled myself back up, and I think I can give you some tips to help me get back. Before that, I will give you a warning, and the warning you will not like because it's something you probably have heard, but it's true. In the video, I will share with you 3 steps that you need to do in order to get ahead, but as I said, I will give you a warning first. And for that, let's just get prepared. Good coffee in the morning definitely makes your day so much better. What most people don't realize that the majority of people who are extremely successful are so successful because they have major issues. And I know this sounds super harsh, but the reality is that most people who are extremely successful are lacking something. And I can say that for someone who relatively achieved something for their age. The reason why I achieve things is because I've never felt good enough. And it really is sad to say that it stems from me not feeling good enough because I cannot stop. I cannot wait. I cannot pause. I have to always go at full speed. I'm trying to work on it, but if you realize how sad that is and how if you see someone on social media showing off their life, they're incredible, what they're doing and their success, just remember they're probably missing something within themselves and they're probably not that happy. This video is not going to be a Debbie Downer about like money doesn't buy you happiness, because we sure all know that if we don't have it, it creates major distress in our life. But I wanted to give you that warning just to keep in mind next time you see someone on social media bragging about their fantastic life and their rich person's crazy lifestyle that you feel like you can never keep up with. Step number 1, you have to accept the truth about yourself without hating yourself. But let me get into more detail. In order to get ahead in life, you need to accept the flaws that you have without hating yourself. I'm serious, like stop beating up yourself about your flaws. Embrace your imperfection as a part of your natural human being and use them as a stepping stone for your personal growth. Self-acceptance creates the resilience that you need in order to grow, and that allows you to be a better person than you were yesterday. Because self-acceptance fosters resilience and confidence. It allows you to grow from your mistakes rather feeling paralyzed by them. It isn't about pretending you're flawless, it's about accepting your shit and working with it. In order to see results, you need to cut yourself some slack and use it to focus on the progress that you're trying to make. In order for you to get ahead in life, you need to focus on the next step so you can actually be a better person today than you were yesterday, because that's the only way you're actually going to get ahead in life, if you focus on those incremental small steps that eventually will lead you to become the person that's top 1%. The key here is to choose controlled pain for growth, rather having the inevitable random pain that could be inflicted onto you. Meaning this process requires a lot of self-reflection, a lot of acknowledgement of the person who you are and the person you're trying to become and what it takes for you to actually get there. Step number 2, being a contrarian. And this is how most people explain how to be the top 1%, is being a contrarian, which there's a lot of truth to that, and thus I will also be covering that. But this is something that is or feels so hard to do and feels so difficult for anyone to achieve. That's why I take this with a grain of salt and I focus on more actionable steps than this one, but I still want to cover it as part of the process because there's so much valid truth to that. But I did add some things about it to make it more actionable so you can actually use that information rather than just knowing you have to be contrarian to be top 1%, because what are we going to do with that information? We need more actionable steps to actually do it. So let's get straight into it. If you want to be the top 1%, you know that you can't do normal things, because if you always do what's considered normal, you're never going to be top 1% because that's what everyone is doing and you don't want to do what everyone else is doing. Unless, and let me put this in there, there's nothing wrong with having a normal job, with having a stable income, with not being this crazy entrepreneur, with just having a very solid life that is secure. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to be the top 1% financially at least, it is very, very hard to do that in the more traditional way. That is why a lot of people who created wealth are entrepreneurs, because it is the easier way to get there. So how do we become a contrarian? It's about taking the unconventional path to success, which also challenges the status quo, meaning acting and working different than the average person does. It's about challenging widely accepted beliefs. It's about challenging normal ways of working and being right about it at the same time. It's not enough to just say crazy things that have no meaning, because that's going to make you a fool. And that's the scary part about it. It's because the line between being completely crazy and being a contrarian is very, very slim. Being a contrarian is not about opposing just for the sake of opposing. It's about opposing and being right with it. It's about seeking innovation and truth. And that is a really difficult thing to do. It is also really refreshing because it allows you to stand your convictions. This is by far the most difficult part, but it's one way to be the top 1%. The way I look at this is I look at things in my life that interest me, and I look at approaches that would be so different than anyone else, and I try to see how I could implement that and stand my truth. I know we're not all inventors and need to come up with the craziest ideas, but I just look at small things in my life where I could challenge myself and think about, what is the belief that I have? What could be the craziest opposite belief? And is there a truth to that? Am I just thinking the way I'm thinking because I've always thought about it my whole life? Or is there a different approach to it? And so looking at that way, it makes it more actionable and easier for you to actually come with contrarian ideas. I know this is a super difficult step, and that is just one way to get ahead of 99% of the people. Step number 3. Go for the long-term goal. This step is by far the most actionable and realistic thing you can do in order to get ahead of 99% of the people. It's not about coming up with crazy ideas that have to be right. It's about actually being in control in the whole process. So let's get right into it. If you want real success, you have to shoot for the long-term goal. The problem is that most people are not able to wait this long. They chase quick, instant gratification. They need to have it now. They need to have it yesterday. That's why Amazon works so well, because people need it now. They cannot wait an inch. I read the book from Alex Hormozi, and I think he was talking about it, how important it is to wait for the ask. The longer you can wait for the ask, the bigger your ask can be, but also the more realistic it is for you to actually see the success that you want to see. Most people want six-packs without ever wanting to hit the gym. If you Google six-pack, it's always like, how to get a six-pack fast, how to get a six-pack with no effort, how to get a six-pack now. No one wants to actually put in the work. No one wants to actually do the thing that is required, because realistically, we all know how it works. You have to work out and eat better. That's the way for you to get healthy and fit. And I think we overcomplicating it by trying to get it instantly now without realizing, by trying to focus on the now rather than the long-term goal. We're missing out because we're getting frustrated because we can't get it now. And you see that with people wanting to have promotions without putting in the years of work. They don't want to put in the effort first because we're human beings and it's natural. But that's the only way how you're actually going to beat the whole process, is by learning how to grind and how to be patient without expecting anything in return. And that is by far the hardest part to do, but it's the thing that you're actually in control of. It's about doing the really unsexy stuff every day, knowing that there is no payoff for a very, very long day. It's boring stuff that no one wants to do, but that's what's actually going to push you into becoming the top 1%. It's about persistence. There might not be a result tomorrow, in a year from now, maybe even a decade. It's really frustrating and can get so aggravating, but that's the way how you're actually going to achieve greatness, by not expecting instant gratification. And that is the point, because while everyone else, again, we don't want to do what everyone else is doing, while everyone else is chasing those shiny objects, you're focusing on the boring daily tasks. You're focusing on the things that actually will get you success, and you're able to hold off on the ask. You're building something that's real, something that's going to last, something that's not going to be gone tomorrow. It's not about a trend. It's about persistence over years. The most refreshing thing that I've learned was to allow myself to take time, to give my permission to take time. I don't have to be successful tomorrow. I don't have to be successful yesterday. I can take my time in whatever area I feel like I want to get ahead in life. I can take my time. I can take the time, and so should you. Take your time. And the best thing you can do in this super long process is track your progress, because it can be such a long road, and it can, like, you feel lose of sight. Oh my gosh, I've been working this forever. I made a tracker that helps me really keep track on my success in a way. It's a Notion template that I worked on for a very long time. I'll give it to you for free. It's in the description. Make a copy from the template. Use it to help yourself accountable and see the progress, because it really shows you the percentages and how much you got done. So I really use this a lot. It helps me so much, because it also motivates me to click off the boxes, because I feel like, yay, I got another thing done. Just a fun way to make this progress a little bit more fun and not so daunting, because it is so long. And yeah, if you like Notion, try to check it out. It's free. I will put it in the description, and you can just make a template. Super easy and great to use. And so if you're struggling with accountability too, because that was the hardest part for me, getting the accountability, I recommend you use this progress tracker. It helped me so much. It makes this super fun. And I think I've heard if you don't track, you're not taking it serious. So take it serious and start tracking. You don't need to use my progress tracker. It's just a way easier way to do it, but you can make yourself your own. And here's a little bonus. I thought I'd throw this in because this process is very long, as we just talked about. This is not a quick fix, but this process is going to be very long, and you're going to realize a couple of challenges. And one of them I want to really take you by heart is you're going to lose a lot of friends, because if you have big goals and your friends are all going out drinking and partying and you're focusing on your work, you're actually going to lose a lot of friends. The reality is most people will never achieve their goals. They will never become the top 1% because they are worried of being lonely. If you're in this space right now, you know exactly what I'm talking about, but I can tell you it's worth it. Keep going. If you enjoy content like that, consider subscribing, and I see you in the next video.
I was looking for a purpose, found out money, fortune, and fame, it just ain't worth it, it's worthless. I took the cash and burnt it, didn't want a reputation of chasing what's on the surface line. The things that I find would never satisfy me in the long time.